Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Jason. Every day is the dopest of days for the dopest of dads
Is
here.
that Black Santa Snoop in your view right there?
Oh, you like that, right? That's
Black
the
Santa
Dizelf on the
Snoop.
shizelf over
Oh, it's
there. You like?
Denzel Washington's Santa Claus.
No, not all black people look alike, Jason.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. All right. All right.
Uncle Snoop is not Uncle Denzel.
They're
Two
not.
very different people.
So you have two different,
But
two different, two different Black Santas.
but you know where Denzel is from?
The North Pole.
New York.
Oh boy.
And that's what my story is about today. Because you know what? Last week reported on the victory for New York cannabis as a judge approved settlement of a lawsuit filed by a group of service disabled vets. And you know what? That news hit the airwaves, granting them a provisional license and paving the way for 436 provisional licenses to open up shop too. It seemed like a decent end to a year in turmoil for the Empire State, who at the end of 2022 was promised by Governor Kathy Hochul 50 dispensaries to be open monthly. By the time this settlement was reached, only 26 were spoken for. But as the old adage goes, the devil's in the details. And in this case, it's no different. The exact settlement terms, which were not made public when the Cannabis Control Board approved of them last week, block the issuance of new card licenses until April 2024 at the very least. The judge also approved a second settlement to a lawsuit filed by the Coalition for Access to Regulated and Safe Cannabis, and that settlement establishes timelines for reviewing applications from registered organizations seeking adult use licenses. ROs are responsible for manufacturing and dispensing medical cannabis in New York. The agreement did reinstate the card licensing program that prioritizes individuals with prior marijuana related convictions. But for the time being, regulators are being forced to focus on clearing backlogged provisional licenses. New applicants will have to wait even longer for their licensure. Per JD Super's reporting, a representative of the New York Cannabis Retail Association said 30 members of his association are on the verge of bankruptcy and cannot wait until April. Judge Bryant previously ruled the veterans group was likely to be successful in its lawsuit, alleging regulators acted unconstitutionally by prioritizing those with cannabis related convictions for licensure first. While the terms of the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act, or the MRTA, gave priority to a large pool of social and economic equity applicants that included several distressed veterans, the veterans group claimed that the card program was more restrictive than legislators intended. The coalition's lawsuit used very similar verbiage. And the proposed settlement of that lawsuit grants licenses to the 5 ROs and establishes timelines for reviewing others also seeking adult use licenses, including several major MSOs, including Acreage, Pharmacan, Green Thumb Industries, and Curaleaf. Well, there you have it, folks. While the card operators whose licenses were caught up in transit will now be allowed to open along with the MSOs, the hundreds of on standby after this round's completed, whenever that may be, will be forced to compete with MSOs that have already been open after paying for staff, operating materials, and rent for a couple of years at a date known only by God herself. On the bright side, perhaps for this year's New Year's Eve photo op, Governor Hochul can show a little love to Curaleaf. They've had a pretty rough year after all. Maybe even buy a couple of tchotchkes from the gift shop this round to let the people know that she stands with them. I know I'm starting to sound like a broken record on this one, but the way this whole New York cannabis market's unraveling is eerily similar to the precedent set forth by California's industry between 2017 and 2020. What do I know? I'm just Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for Hot 9 News. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this one. I told you so.
Oh, MSO is about to eat everybody's lunch in New York. You know that's not going to happen.
Time.
You know that's not going to happen because all the bodegas are eating everybody's lunch. These MSOs are just going to line up to lose more money now.
Get that chopped cheese, baby.
That's right.
Yeah.
Get
That's right.
chopped cheese, clout collage.
Yeah.
That's right, because you cannot compete with the gray market in New York right now. You can't compete with the sandwich shop, with the bodega, with the smoke shop, with the what else did I see? Clothing stores, like everything. Like it doesn't matter that everybody is selling weed in New York right now, and unless you're going to put a dispensary on every corner, how's that going to work? How are you going to compete?
Like
If you give me enough time and money, I will put a dispensary on every corner.
And shout
The
out,
creepy guys in Central Park with the trench
They're-
coats used to open it up and have a bunch of gold watches. They got weed in there now too. Just
That's from
overstock.
coming to
Hey, want to
America.
buy some weed? Want to buy some weed?
shout out to all the sandwich makers though. Shout out to them.
Yes.
I love a good sandwich.
Making the sandwiches to go, breakfast sandwiches to go, lunch
A
sandwiches
good
to
New
go
York
in 5
deli
minutes.
is on
Sandwich
point.
is great
Deli.
again.
Oh yeah.
Bagel
Yet
and
another
cheese.
bait and switch by Governor Hochul here.
Yep.
Mhm.
I mean, come on.
I mean, I just like a man who can weave the word tchotchkes into a news story.
Oh, you like
The
that?
skill that it takes to do that without
You like
skipping
that?
a beat and making that look like that's your native tongue is very, I mean, like, I'm way past being impressed with Snoop Santa. The fact that you just wove tchotchkes in there, it warms my heart.
That's because he used to watch.
I'm
He's
glad
watched
you're
tons.
impressed.
That's only because he's watched tons of reruns of Charles in Charge. Yarrow.
Yeah, and a lot of Laverne and
Shout out to
Shirley.
Scott Baio. Shout out to
Yeah.
Scott
Do
Baio,
not
your boy.
diminish-
Your boy. Your
Do
boy,
not
Jason.
diminish the
Scott
dope
Baio.
dad's Yiddish. Okay,
Okay.
don't do that, Jason.
Is that what we're calling? Is now it's Yiddish now?
Gotchki is Yiddish.
Tchotchke Yiddish, is it?
Yeah.
Now it's
No,
Yiddish.
Jason's
Yesterday it
claiming
was
that one.
Yiddish, and 2,000 years ago it was Yiddish. Don't make
Like
me
a
break
schmuck.
out a map.
Jason is
Come on.
gentrified Yiddish.
Gentrified Yiddish. Oh boy.
The
I
great
bet.
gentrifier himself, Jason
Mhm.
Beck.
That's right. I specialize in gentrification. Yeah, I bet.
Oh God.
I bet.
Definitely not Yiddish.
I specialize in hashification.
A hashification. That's
Look at
right.
that. That's that beautiful sift right there that's going in this
Squishy.
beautiful hash hole.
Couldn't
Todd,
bring that. You couldn't bring that to the party.
oh,
exactly.
you get another
You-
chance to watch
you
me
had to
roll
take
some. You got
hours to
another
roll a
chance to watch
joint.
me roll
And
some, Todd.
Just so everybody knows, one thing that did happen at MJ Biz is that Saman Razani did win the Guinness Book of World Records for longest stuffing of a blunt, taking him 4 hours and 20 minutes to stuff a backwood.
Hey.
Very
Bro,
impressive.
Got that
Yes.
420 in there.
Winners are winners,
Got
dog.
that 420 in there.
W's
I like
W.
it.
Man,
And here's the deal. Just because that blunt was combustible doesn't mean you should rush it. I mean, how long did it take to make a Fabergé egg? Nobody knows the answer because nobody gives a fuck. Because it's
Thanks.
a Fabergé egg. Because it's beautiful. Because
Thank
Indiana Jones would have stolen it if it was in a temple.
Yarrow,
okay?
you're my number one fan. I love you.
oh
So if he
boy.
wants to take however long it takes to get to where we're going,
Guys,
that
you can't
blunt
rush
was the
perfection.
Fabergé of
My-
blunts for MJ.
Just like my man says, you can't rush perfection. Look at this. Look at this.
Oh God. You know what? On that, we're gonna go to a commercial. We're gonna be right back. We got a lot of people on stage today. Here we go.